Many people are concerned about China's ambition to overtake the United States as the world's most powerful country, economically, militarily, and politically. Today, I'll explain why this may forever be wishful thinking on the part of the Chinese regime. It won't happen. The reason is one that we could not have imagined. China is running out of people. Yes, you heard it right. The world's most populous country is aging quickly, faster than the U.S., and is running out of young people. The CCP's notorious single-child policy has killed many unborn babies and might have also killed its plan to take over the world. A country's healthy young labor force ensures economic productivity, consumption, and creativity. When China first opened its borders to the outside world in the early 1980s, the Chinese median age was only 22 years old, much younger than the U.S. median age at the time, which was 30 years old. So China was like a young man full of potential, while America was already an independent, established adult stepping into middle age. By the way, median age refers to the midpoint age if you line up everyone in a country from young to old by age. So if the Chinese median age was 22, it means that half of the Chinese population was under 22 and the other half was over 22. If the US median age was 30, it means that half of Americans was under 30 and the other half was over 30. However, by 2014, China's productivity started to slow down because its labor force had aged. In 2018, the Chinese median age exceeded that of the US, and now China's median age is 42 years old, while America's is 38. In other words, from 1980 to 2020, in a span of 40 years, the Chinese median age grew by 20 years and America's only grew by 8 years. So how did China age so quickly? Well, it's attributable to China's one-child policy. It comes down to a number called total fertility rate, or TFR. It's the average number of children each woman gives birth to. The TFR needs to be at 2 in order for the total population to maintain stability. What this means is that each couple should have, on average, 2 children to replace themselves. In that case, the total population remains steady and the median age remains unchanged. When the TFR goes below 2, meaning that each couple has fewer than 2 kids, the population starts to decline. You'll have more older people in your population. The United States has a TFR of 1.7 or 1.8, and the US population has been going down. Other countries such as Russia, Japan, and South Korea have seen declining populations as well, since their TFRs are also below 2. What's China's TFR? According to Dr. Fuxian, and scientist at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and author of the book Big Country with an Empty Nest, at one point China's TFR was 1.05, which was extremely low. What's alarming about China's decline is its speed. China's TFR was 2.25 in 1990, and it dropped to 1.8 a year later. 4 years later, it was 1.4. It further dropped to 1.2 and then to 1.05 in 2015. Dr. Yi said that China had already been pushed off the metamorphic cliff with its population decline. Some people have claimed that the Chinese economy will be 2 to 3 times the size of America's economy. According to Dr. Yi, it's totally impossible. China will never overtake America's because of the decrease in the labor force and the aging of the population. A United Nations projection forecasts that China will lose 67 million working-age people by 2030, which is only 9 years away from now, while simultaneously doubling the number of elderly. Based on an estimate by the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, by 2050, 1/3 of the Chinese population will be over 60 years old. An aging population and the loss of young labor force will put immense pressure on the Chinese economy and government resources. Another problem that has made the population decline even worse is the big disparity in the gender ratio. This was caused by the abortion of female fetuses. When they're allowed to have only one child, Chinese parents traditionally prefer a boy. In 2018, China had 280 males aged 15 to 29 for every 100 females of that age, or nearly 3 to 1. According to the United Nations, in 5 years, there will be more than 3 males for every female between the ages of 15 and 29 in China, and the ratio will not be balanced for several decades. This disparity is alarming because not only does China have the problem of fewer young people in general, there's also the big problem of having significantly fewer women of childbearing age. On top of that, social stability is of great concern when there are tens of millions of young men who cannot find wives. In addition, widespread fake data in population-related studies has cost China dearly. In an interview with Radio Free Asia, Dr. Yi explained how the data that the Chinese government publishes is fake. For example, the real Chinese TFR in 2000 was 1.2. The regime probably thought the number was too low, so it changed the number to 1.8 and made it official. The regime can cook the books and fake the numbers, but it can't change the actual number of babies born. Dr. Yi estimated that China's real number of births was 13 million in 2000, but the official number of births published was 18 million. If the official number was true, then 10 years later, China should have 18 million 10-year-olds. But the official census in 2010 showed only 14 million. 5 years later, in 2015, these 10-year-olds grew up to be 15-year-olds. So if 14 million number was correct, China should have 14 million 15-year-olds, right? No, it didn't. That year, China reported 13 million 15-year-olds. This proves that the correct birth rate in the year 2000 was indeed 1.2, with 13 million newborns, and it took the regime 15 years to report it correctly. Data and statistics are systematically manipulated to serve the CCP's political agenda, but the fake data has also cost the regime economically. Population studies done in China have been based on wrong and fabricated data. That means that all the research done based on this data was wrong, and the research papers published from these studies were meaningless. The policies set forth based on the findings have also been wrong. The overarching Belt and Road project, for example, and the overheated Chinese real estate market were based on fake birth rates and wrong population assumptions. Dr. Yi said, if you apply the real Chinese birth rate, China's real estate market will be in crisis. If there aren't that many Chinese who need housing, a big bubble would burst. Since China's state-enforced single-child policy started in 1980, 2 generations of Chinese have grown up as single children. Having just 1 or no children at all has become the social norm in China. Even when the CCP has repealed the single-child policy in 2015, China continues to see its population decline, since the regime has not ended forced sterilization, forced abortion, or government control over birth permits. 3 years after the government relaxed the birth control policy, the actual number of births in 2018 did not go up. It tanked to the lowest since 1961. As ambitious as the Chinese Communist regime is, it might have just shot itself in the foot by its own policies. China performs 7 to 14 million abortions a year. Killing that many unborn babies and forcing 100 million Chinese women to be sterilized is no small matter, and it might be coming back to haunt the regime now. I'll continue exploring topics related to China that matter to all of us now. Please share this program with at least one friend today, and I'll see you next time.